Well, welcome to Coming Up Higher. This is Alicia and Whitney, and we are so excited today, as we always are when we have guests.
Yes.
Because each guest that we have on, we just really believe God connected us for a reason.
Right.
And we love hearing people's stories and getting to hear what God's doing in other people's giftings and ministries, and just how he's moving. And so today we have Marc Ousley.
Without the H.
He had me say, he said, it sounds like house. And so it was in my head. Marc Ousley,
There you go.
AKA DjFunky O. He's a nationally known DJ out of Chicago. He mixes various genres of music. House music is his specialty. Co-owner of Joy Ministries.org with his lovely wife. And, you just go out and you promote good music and good godly atmosphere. And Marc has been nominated for 7 Spin Awards in the field of gospel music. And he is also on the D. Curtis Randall show in Chicago, an awesome gospel station in Chicago, reaching millions. And so we're just honored to have you on. So welcome.
Thank you very much. If you want to, you can call me Ousley.
Ousley. That's gonna be our thing now.
No, Ousley and home.
Yeah.
Yes. What you didn't hear, I was reading off his bio and stuff is before this started, and I was reading off, okay, and you do home music instead of house music. And so there's something with the theme of today of like home and house. And so I'm excited to see how the Lord's gonna like unpack that and bring some kind of crazy revelation out of our blenders.
Yeah. So we met Marc at the Spin Awards, actually. And for those of you who follow our podcast, we had Resurrection on a little while ago, and we also met him from the Spin Awards. But him and DjFunky O here, those were the two men that just God really connected us with, and just their hearts for serving the Lord and their ministries. And so we are so glad to have you on, and just know that God connected us all for a reason. But we just want to dive in and just have you share a little bit of your story. Have you always loved music and been drawn to it as a kid and decided to get into it, or how'd that go?
My parents have always been into music. My mother, rest her soul, she actually had a chance to go dance with the Alvin Ailey dancers when she was a teenager.
Oh my gosh.
My grandmother would not let her go because she said you're too young to go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And, this was a long time. This was back in the early 60s, so she couldn't go. But having said that, she loved to dance, which means you have music around.
Right.
My father, he sung in various choirs. I don't know if you ever heard of Jesse Dixon, Milton Bronson, community singers. My father was a member of Thompson Community Singers.
Wow.
So I've always had music, period, whether it's secular or gospel, but more so gospel on this genre that we're talking about, because he would be a choir director. And so that means he would be at home and he had to learn the songs, learn the words, go to rehearsal and do the rehearsal.
Yeah.
So that will always stick with me, period. No matter how far I went away with secular music, I will always still have gospel music.
Those roots. The roots, yeah.
That's it. Even until this day.
Started in the home.
Started in the home, and it has never left me. I will read the back of album covers to see who played this instrument and who produced this, and it's just it. I don't know if you can tell for the background, or tell your listeners, you can see some of the records behind me, and and I got stuff over here, and I got the turntables here, turntables over your head, and it's just been with me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they instilled that in me, and it was naturally. They didn't even have to force it on me.
Right.
It was natural.
Right. And I think sometimes that, I don't know, just kind of how I see it is like sometimes God just places a gifting in a family that just goes down the generational lines. And it's like, that God has anointed this lineage for this work. And whether that's music or whether that's engineering or architect or, doctors and things like that, or pastors, like it's so cool when you just see so clearly like God's design for this family down the family line. Cause that's how we have it too. Like our grandparents traveled around in gospel quartets and sang at churches, and our parents were in a quartet and did Christian music, and
our dad was a musician.
Yeah. Mom was a worship leader. And so it's just an honor. I know like it's just such an honor to be able to carry on that legacy and to really discover what it is that God has for our family through this gifting. Like how can I be a unique expression of,
I think it's so amazing how people listen to you. You don't even know that people are listening to you.
Right.
You know, and they're listening to you while you're doing your work for the Lord.
Yeah.
How many people have you all met before and you didn't even know they listened to your music?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what I was trying to do when I asked you all, send me your stuff, because I got 2 million people that probably have never even heard of you.
Wow.
If I play your music, they'll hear of you.
Yeah.
And I just want them to get the message. Now, I want them to know it's you too, but my main goal is for them to get the word.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. At least for me, that's always my plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's your gifting. We were talking about your wife in your ministry, Leap for Joy Ministries. She's a speaker and she leads Bible studies, and you know, she does these things in front. And you said, well, you're the hype man. And I said, yeah, you are, but you're the atmosphere setter. Mm-hmm. And with your music and how you mix it in such a way, and you set the atmosphere and you set the tone for what's coming next, for the word to be received, for, you know, for the outreach to happen, or things for people to tune into God's frequency, because it's his message and his word. And his word doesn't return void, right, in the form of music, in the form of preaching, whatever it is, but you're tuning them to that frequency. And so I love what you do with that. And, you know, we appreciate you playing our music, because that is our heart. It doesn't matter if they know if it's Alicia and Whitney or whatever, but it's, do they recognize the Father's heart and his frequency in what we're putting out?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. He wants us to get that word out, no matter what. And sometimes you can't be in a church. And see, this might be another reason about what we're going through now, because you don't have to be in a church to give his word, to sing his word, to tell of your testimonies and stories outside of the church.
Yeah,
it's no excuse now.
Yeah, right.
You can't say, well, I don't have time to go to church. Well, guess what? You're not going to church.
All the time in the world. Yeah.
So you got all the time in the world. You got social media. It is no excuse not to get the word out, however short or long you want to do it.
Right.
You know, and so this is what we have to do. We have to be warriors with this.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love what you were saying about it doesn't matter how, but just that the message gets out. And I think that's such an important part that the church, just the realization that we need to come to is that, like, we're all in this together, and it's no one ministry over another, or it's no, you know, I'm going to promote myself but not promote someone else. Like, that's not God's heart. Like, his heart is to get the message out, the word out, whether that's through music, speaking, whatever, inspirational posts, writing. Like, he just wants the word to get out. And so I hope through all of this that we see a church that's just more unified and really has that, like, single focus, that single vision, that we're all in this together. We're all on the same team. Let's support one another. And the world needs this. And I mean, we're seeing that now in the midst of this pandemic and everything. Like, they're scared, they're fearful, they don't know what's ahead. And it's because they don't have Jesus. So it's understandable that they're in that state, but we have the answer. Yeah. And so it's so important that we unite together and give them what they need.
It's important that I really hope we get it right, because I was telling my wife, he's trying to get everybody's attention. What's really important versus what's not really important. And, you know, sometimes God does things to get your attention.
Yeah.
And you know, we call it what we want, but he's trying to get your attention.
Right.
You know, and if you don't get that, and a lot of people, unfortunately, they really don't get that. But, you know, those that do get it, we need to share it. We need to share it.
Yeah. Yeah. Our spiritual mama, Debbie Short, she talks about sometimes when you're trying to hear from God, there's static, like when you're tuning into, your radio station or your gospel station. If I'm driving down the car in Chicago and I'm tuning and I'm not quite reaching that channel or that frequency or that number, there's a lot of static going on. But it's so important. And during this time, God has removed all the other static and all the other stations we've been tuning into and focused us at home and said, I want you to tune into me. And I just think as we learn to hear his voice more and more and learn to hear what he's saying and what he's instructing us to do and his plan for the earth and his plan for his people and his plan for redemption, as we tune in more into that, we're going to see some big changes going on. And I think this is the perfect time to hone in on that.
Right.
And I'm just excited to see what's going to come out of this.
And some people are taking advantage. I know you all notice on social media where you have various DJs that go on live.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So I was asked to do it as well. So I started doing it. But in that, I had two different ministers from two different churches say, "Hey, can you go on live for our church?" I see that's amazing because that church has never heard me before.
Mm-hmm.
The other church has never heard me before. And I get to come on there and mix gospel and do whatever. And they tell me I can stay on as long as I want, which is dangerous for me.
That's true.
I might stay on to give you an hour. I might stay on to give you 3 hours.
Come on.
It depends. So I don't know if you want to give me that kind of carte blanche.
Right.
However, my point is you have other people that hear you and they're hearing the music and they're hearing the words and the message.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two totally different churches from one side of Chicago, Park Forest, to Itasca.
Wow.
And one church has a Wednesday, one church has a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And they allow me to come on their group page and just do what I do, whatever they need me to do. And it's amazing because now it has grown. That's another growing testimony for me. Now I'm growing even more as a gospel DJ, and people are getting the word through what I'm doing.
Right.
And so those ministers are getting it, that they need to use this platform to reach in more. And so you got to, like you said, you got to jump on it. You have got to jump on it and take advantage of it the right way.
Right. Well, and I think it's so interesting because it's so easy, especially in times when we're, stuck at home or we're not getting like the opportunities like we used to. Like for us, our ministry, a lot of the events got canceled that we're supposed to be singing at and leading worship for and things. But to have the perspective that God can do just as much, if not more, in us during times like these when we're secluded at home, or when we're not able to promote ourselves or do, go out and do things. We can't do and like run and all this. But what's really interesting is God is bringing these opportunities to you. Mm-hmm. Like as you're resting in him, as you're seeking him, as you're doing what you're feeling called to do, obeying the obscure instructions of just, let's go live at home. As you're doing those things, God's opening the doors and you're not having to. Mm-hmm. He's bringing it to you.
That is so true, and this is how it gets down. I had brain surgery New Year's Eve, 1989. You wouldn't know that.
No.
And, a lot of people joke and say, "Oh, that's what's wrong with you."
Oh, good friends. Huh?
Usually it's the friends and the relatives that come up with that conclusion. Mm-hmm. But having said that, I was willing to just say, okay, I know I didn't do what I was supposed to do, Lord, while I was here, but I did believe in you. I do believe in you. And just forgive me for all my sins. And, I'm okay with that because the doctors was like, it's going to be 9 hours of surgery.
Wow.
And we don't know.
What was wrong with?
I had an aneurysm.
Okay.
And so blood vessel burst in my brain, left side. And so I had surgery and I'm here. But my thing is, I tell people all the time, the reason why I have fun and joke and don't take too many things as serious, because I survived brain surgery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's giving me the opportunity to do whatever it is I need to do to get it right, or to get his word out, or to help somebody else. Whatever his thing is for me to do, he gave me the chance by letting me survive the brain surgery.
Wow.
Right.
You know, and hey, that's what you have to do. Sometimes he has to get your attention, and you know, if that never got my attention, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's why I was saying to you earlier that this whole spread thing, this whole virus thing, is to get our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because to let you know who you should be thanking, who you should worship, who who you should be glad that you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
You should only be thanking, particularly one being at period, which is God and His Son Jesus Christ.
Right. Your true source.
Yeah, your true source.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I want a lot of people to realize that, because tomorrow is not promised to you. We're not on schedules. We're on His schedule.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
We're on His schedule.
Yeah. So tell us how you got into DJing and just in mixing gospel music, and all, like what did that look like?
Okay, so the DJing part, or you want me to tell the gospel part of it, or
If there's
the guy just
as a DJ, do you want me to mix it all together?
mix it all. Let's give us a DJ mix.
Do what you do well,
DjFunky O.
man.
Do what I do. So I learned. I started getting into DJing. Period. I'm gonna go real quick. As a teenager, because I used to love to dance. As I told you previously, my mother danced. And so I think I had got that gene from her. So I would love to go to the dances, the high school dances, blah, blah, blah. But after a while, I started paying attention to the DJs. I'm like, man, how is he making that one song going to the other song? Eventually, I was interested in how to mix.
Yeah.
And then so I didn't know equipment cost so much money either.
Right.
So I would have to do chores, and I saved my allowance and buy one turntable. And I saved and bought another turntable. Nobody told me I needed a mixer. Nobody told me that until it dawned on me one day when I would go and look at the DJs. They had this thing in the middle, mixer. So I finally able to get one. And so over a period of time, I would learn and learn and learn. And in my field, in my mind, I think I'm terrible. But I improved, and more people started to hire me for this, that, and the other. And I end up becoming pretty much okay. Having said that, fast forward over these many, many, many years, because, I told you I'm 55, and that happened when I was 16, so you do the math.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I was driving to St. Louis to visit we have two kids there that went to college, and now they're living in St. Louis. We're going to visit them. Curtis Randall, as you mentioned earlier, Curtis Randall called and said, hey, I need a mixologist for my gospel show. Can you send me a mix of gospel music? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll send you a mix. When he hung up, I looked at my wife. I was driving. I said, I don't have any gospel music.
Said that in faith.
Right. So that was the bad thing. That was faith. And I clearly lied to the guy.
Yeah, right. That's true. Good point.
Let's not forget the sin part of it. I lied. Thou shalt not lie.
Oh, goodness.
I lied. I didn't want to tell the man no. He was referred to me. Mm-hmm. He was referred to me by a guy that said, hey, I know a guy that can do this. So I sent him a mix. He loved the mix. Where you been? Nobody's never heard gospel music mixed like this. So I joined the show as a mixologist, but I could never come to the station because I was working for the school system, and they would have a show in the daytimes, but I would be at work. So I said, I might have to come early and jump in there and just to meet the people that I'm sending the mixes to. So I came in and sat in during the show. They loved me so much, they made me a part of the morning team.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So that's how I got on the show. fast forward to a few more years later, these guys was getting nominated for gospel shows, gospel awards, as you know, Spin Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, it would be real nice if I got nominated just for one little award. That would be real cool. I would be able to go on my merry way if I get nominated.
Right.
And he said, this time next year, everybody will know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not lying, because the next year, that's how I met you young ladies. I got nominated for 5 awards that year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
It was amazing. I didn't win, but it's cool because I took away a lot. I had got friendships with you,
Mm-hmm.
experience with everybody else that's in the gospel music world that I never even knew this existed.
Right.
You know, so my point is that kid from back in 1982 learning how to DJ, fast forward all the way to now, I'm more so known really as a gospel DJ, more so in the secular world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I have to explain sometimes to clients, well, no, really, I'm a DJ that plays everything.
Right.
They're used to me being the gospel DJ,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. And that's this testimony to where God can bring you. You think you're gonna do this, but God laughs at your plan all the time.
Yep.
Because he has another plan for you.
Yeah. I love your story, because I love how God places these giftings and desires in us as children, as teenagers, as, young adults. But it took an investment on your part. You worked and did your chores and whatever you had to do. And little by little, you invested in the gifting that God placed in you. And you weren't even realizing down the road what you were going to be walking in, the open door to be on the radio, the gospel radio show. And, the Spin Award nominations and all of those things. That's amazing. And I just love God that, like you said, he kind of laughs like, yeah, that's cute. You're going to, do secular music and all this stuff. But he used the secular music so that you could hone in on your craft for gospel, for both of them, and all that you do. That's all encompassing today, with the variety of DJing. Like you said, you don't just do gospel still, but God's using it all.
And the funny part is, you don't realize, we were talking about how I got started. The more I try to look for different gospel music, the more I realize I know so much gospel music because I forgot my father.
That's it.
Was doing it all along growing up. And I would name songs. Sometimes my wife would even ask me, I've never heard that song before. I'm like, you don't know this song? And we laugh about it. And it's just amazing how it's a full circle.
Yeah.
It's just really amazing. And I thank God. I thank for the opportunity of anything that is putting his name out there,
Right.
Yeah.
Anything at all. And so I'm just having a great time. I'm having a great time doing whatever he needs me to do.
That's good. And one of the things you had mentioned about, like with the Spin Awards, that even though I didn't win with those nominations, just the experience, just to have those nominations. And it reminded me of a story. I was in this singing competition and just like last year, and it was just like a fun thing to do. But I think I made it to like the second round and then didn't, make it past that. And God brought me to this place, whereas when I was younger, like that would have devastated me. Like, oh my gosh, I love to sing, and they didn't see like the gifting in me or something like that. But I was like actually really okay with it, because I had stepped out. Because as a singer, like you have your songs that you like know well and that you can do well, and those are like your go-tos, But I had tried something different, because I was like, I always do that song. Like I just want to try something fun, and I did a Stevie Wonder song, Superstitious. I was like, I love that song, and I'm just going to sing it. I don't care.
You went way out the box with that one.
Which, hey, normally I do Proud Mary, Tina Turner. Like, that's my go-to.
That's even worse.
That's my go-to.
That's way out the box.
So I did the Stevie Wonder song, and that's when I didn't make it to the next round. And so part of me was like, you know what? I'm proud of myself for like stepping out and trying something new because I wanted to, and I was comfortable enough to do it. But then the other part was still kind of that competition, but like, yeah, but you lost. And the Holy Spirit just stopped me, and he was like, Whitney, it's not even about winning in my kingdom. Like it's about the journey. Like I'm proud of you that you stepped out and did something that you're not used to doing.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't with the mindset of trying to advance to the next level, but it was just the mindset of wanting to be authentic to who I am and what I wanted to do. And I think that's important. Like that, it just, your story resonated with that for me, is that it's not about the accolades. It's not about the accomplishments. Like so many times we're so focused on the destination that we lose sight that the journey is like the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
Like the destination is amazing and it's like a reward for all the hard work and stuff that we've done. But really, like all the hard work, all the investment, everything you've learned, how you've grown, like how God grows you through it, matures you, like that's done in the process and in the journey.
Yeah.
And so I love that that's your heart too, that it's okay, I didn't win these things, but look at what I've gained through all of this.
So someone tested me one day and said, if there's one award you could win, which award would it be? And I was going to tell another lie. I was going to say, it doesn't matter, but I'm not going to lie to you. I said, it would be nice to be DJ of the Year.
Yes.
And I had to laugh because we're human.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's the flesh part that God tells us we always have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, the fact that I can even say that and feel that way, and it's all because I've been pushing the music of Christian music and gospel music, was still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bottom line, I went right back to the fact nobody would ask me that in the secular world at all.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. I wouldn't even be able to answer that question. But being in the gospel world, just the fact that I can joke about that and be asked that was a blessing too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I still win with the fact that I can have that conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah. Do you have anything else? Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
I can be quiet if you want me to.
No. You're our guest, so we don't want to take up your time. But yeah, I just think it's interesting because, her singing Proud Mary and Superstition, stuff like that. Actually, our dad was a funk bass player.
Mm-hmm.
And so he introduced us to Motown. I grew up listening to Gladys Knight. She's one of my favorites. And then our mom had parents who were in Southern gospel quartets, country music, all these things. But like you growing up in a house with gospel music or varying different types of music, it really was something for our future that was growing us into to be able to, Paul says something like, I'm all things to all people so that I can minister to them. And God wants us to understand different cultures and understand different sounds and understand he doesn't want us, because he's a creative God, and he created us all. He made us all unique, and we all have unique expressions in how we express ourselves. And so I think that's really important to celebrate that and realize that sometimes when things are just going on and being played in the atmosphere, they're forming who we are and the giftings that we have.
Well, and I want to add on to that. I was talking with the spiritual dad of mine, Pastor Andy, and I was just telling him, it'd be really nice if there could be like one thing that I'm like good at and can dedicate everything to, because I was just sharing with him, like, I feel like, we have this podcast, we're doing music, like I'm going to school for business, and there's just like all these different facets to my life. And he told me something really interesting. He said, Whitney, God's raising up a generation that aren't specialists, but they're multifaceted. Yeah. And I heard that as you've been talking, that God didn't raise you just to be a specialist in one area and to be confined to a box, but he's actually trained you to be multifaceted. So now when you're at a secular place, you can just hop right in, do some mixes, you know the language, you know everything. But then at the same time, you're doing live streams for churches and you're mixing gospel albums, and you can be on different radio shows. And like you were talking earlier, the church getting out of the four walls of the building and actually being the church and being relevant to people. Sometimes we just practice on each other as Christians and we just hang around with each other. But God's wanting us to break out and to reach people that aren't coming to church that don't know our Christianese language.
Yeah.
And so I just even want to speak that over you. Like God's created you to be multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you know that, but that he's really given you authority to speak into different arenas, I guess.
I received that, and that's pretty much confirmation. Gentleman, Pastor Jenkins, one of the ministers I told you about that had me play for his church, he wanted to talk with me further because he said, man, I love your energy when you worshiping and praising the Lord. He said, as a matter of fact, he said, where do you get all that energy from? And I said, well, I've had energy, period, even no matter what I'm doing. It's just that it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's authentic.
Right.
I'm not faking my jumping around and hand clapping and dancing. I have a Funky O walk. I call it the Funky O walk.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
Where I walk back and forth across the screen.
Nice.
So,
Yes.
so he says he really enjoyed that because it was good for his people, his church, his flock. See a man giving exercise and energy.
Yes.
And worshiping and praising.
So true.
And that meant a lot coming from, a man who he has his church.
Right.
He is the shepherd, and that God works with you so many ways. I didn't expect that at all. I just expected for him to say, okay, are you going to do it next Wednesday?
Right.
So God's always using you. He's always using you is my point. It's always using you.
Yeah.
That's good.
You don't think he's using you. He's using you.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't thinking about me. He wasn't concerned about me playing the music. I guess it was stood out that I had so much energy on the screen. So you just never know.
Yeah.
Right.
Just never know.
So tell us real quick, we know you have a ministry called Leap for Joy Ministries.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Leap for Joy Ministries is a ministry we have where we give back under the teachings of Jesus Christ. So homeless, hungry, and we try to give it back when we know they really, really, really need it, and it's male and female. We don't discriminate. So in other words, we know before Christmas comes, it's going to get cold. Right. So we'll already give them thermal underwear, long johns and such. And we know everybody's going to give people food Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we try to do it in the odd times of the year.
That's good.
Because they're still going to be hungry in April.
In July, yeah.
Fill in the gaps, yeah.
And
so true.
And it's not a church. It's a ministry that my wife and I came together with. And we go around, we'll have a prayer breakfast. And when the people come for the prayer breakfast, they enjoy the breakfast, obviously. We'll have a speaker, we'll have a singer. I'll do the music, and then my wife is the keynote speaker. But at the end, whatever donations they give, we use all of them 100% to buy socks or clothing or whatever. And we go and we deliver it. Now, I do record it, but I don't like recording it where it seems like I'm sensationalizing it.
Right.
I record it to let them know this is what we're doing as Christians. We're giving back, and we're letting you all know we're giving back, and you should give too.
Right.
So we try to do it like that, so you don't want to show people in a bad light when they're already down.
Yeah.
Right.
But we also want people to know that this is what Leap for Joy Ministries are. This is what we do.
To partner with you guys, and I understand that.
And so, and my wife, she goes around and she speaks. You were talking about how people learn. She was real. They really received her in the church we were in, and in this place and that place. And then all of a sudden, it started growing. So, she was speaking. Now she's speaking at women conferences and other churches. Awesome. And this is another form of how you say things grow. When you started right here, but you think it's about this. And then now look, she's able to give the word all over and still tell the people about Leap for Joy and giving back.
Yep. Yeah. So
powerful.
So it's powerful. So it's great, and we're just getting started.
That's
Amen.
it. Yep, I like that. Just getting started.
It's a declaration.
Yeah. So tell us, we want those listening to be able to find you and follow you and listen to those mixes. So let us know where people can find you at.
Just Alicia and Whitney, just ask them.
There you go. We do have your information.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I know you weren't expecting that. That's why I said that. Well, you can go on Mixcloud. There are various mixes, gospel and secular. You can download those for free under DjFunky O.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, hashtag DjFunky O. Twitter, at DjFunky O. You can go on Facebook and actually inbox me, Marc DjFunky O Ousley.
Okay.
Go on leafforjoy.org.
Mm-hmm.
Find me that way. The email address to message me directly if you need music, if you need mixes, is djfunkyOprod@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah, and we'll link this stuff in the description as well, so they'll be able to find you. So
I try to make it real easy to find. And the one thing I haven't had, and I said, I guess I need to get one. I guess I need to get a website.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
Just getting started.
Yep.
You would think that would be the first thing I tell you guys, but
no.
Well, there's a great resources.
He does not have a website.
That's
No.
all right.
That's all right.
They can find you. There's plenty of resources here with social media.
Yeah.
So we're excited for people to connect with you and just have enjoyed this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I just love hearing people's stories and hearing how God invested in you as a young boy and where you're at now. And like you said, it's just the beginning. So
right.
I just am so excited to know you, and we're blessed that you came on today and look forward to all that God has for you.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to put you on blast and say, I need you to send me more music. So
Okay.
Stuff with it.
Yes, we will.
What I need.
We're getting ready to release a new song this year too, so we'll make sure and get that to you.
Yeah, and I want you all to keep doing what you're doing, and this is only the beginning for you. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to keep remarketing yourself. And trust me, God is gonna open up so many more doors for you young ladies. And it's a pleasure for me even knowing you. That you put up with me.
Oh, no, we've enjoyed this. But one thing I do want to know is if we can see that DjFunky O walk across the screen.
Whitney, first of all, I don't even know. I can't believe you did that to me.
I just called you out.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Is that the beat? Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Hey! Dun, dun, dun. Oh! Dun, dun, dun. Hey! Hey! All right!
I love that. Our YouTube viewers are going to love that.
If I see that on YouTube, ooh, I'm going to get y'all. I'm going to get you.
I mean, we can cut this part out if you want.
No, that's probably, actually, it might be the best part. So put that on it, because I was going to ask you how I can view this, because I want to show my wife the whole interview, so I can view this on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. This will, people can find us on like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those
audio version.
Yeah, for the audio version. But as far as the visual, to see that walk, you got to go to YouTube.
At Alicia and Whitney. So.
And it is a visual.
Yes. But I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we just love your joy.
Walk. So now you know.
There we
Funky
go.
O walk. I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna replay this episode and learn it. And the next time I'll do it with you, and we'll do it both together.
That is hilarious. And I swear I'm gonna get Whitney. I swear I'm gonna get her. I don't know how, but I'm gonna get her.
Well, I think we'll end on this note.
Gotta go.
Okay.
But thank you so much, listeners, for tuning in to Coming Up Higher. We are Alicia and Whitney, and just know that we love you guys, and we're praying for you, and we look forward to speaking with you again. God bless.